Right, in this video we'll be going over the syllabus for our Spanish summer class. Alright, so we've got our basic information, where we are, when we'll be there. Contact information for me, email is the best, it goes straight to my phone. I can typically respond within an hour if it's during a weekday, if I don't have anything going on. If it's a weekend, it can take as much as like 5 hours, but it doesn't take very long for me to get a message and return a message to you. So feel free to email. I am in the office on Mondays, so if you want, you can give me a call there and leave a message if you choose to do that. Alright, let's see, course description, Spanish 2. We're going to be working on our speaking, writing, listening, and reading proficiency in Spanish. And so we've got that. As far as our textbook goes, we do not have a required text. We will be using some resources online. So take some time, click on those links, and familiarize yourself with those resources. As far as YouTube goes, you probably already know that. But if you haven't tried it, you can do a quick search on YouTube for a grammar topic. So how to conjugate reflexive verbs, for example. You can get a whole lesson or a whole list of series of lessons on how to conjugate reflexive verbs on YouTube. So it's actually a good resource if you know what you're looking for. But anyhow, so familiarize yourself with those. Course requirements. We do need a positive attitude. We need some creativity, good work ethic, and a willingness to work with others. Okay, so come to class ready to learn. This is not going to be a traditional lecture classroom. Alright? So, anyhow, come ready to learn a foreign language. Let's see, part 2, course content and learning objectives. Okay? Here with number 1, we'll be covering a lot of things that you should have learned in Spanish 1. We're going to go a little bit further into detail about gustar and other verbs like it. Superlatives. We'll talk about the best, the most, the least, ugliest, prettiest, etc. We'll go into narrations using the preterite and imperfect tenses, or the past tense in Spanish. Okay, we're going to work with a lot of different kinds of pronouns. We have direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and then using the two of them together we call double object pronouns. So we'll be working with those. Prepositions, in, on, around, and so prepositions of space, and we'll also be working with prepositions of time, before, after, during. We're going to learn some verbs that express emotion. We're going to explore some internet sites. We're going to go over some culture stuff. And again, with regard to all those things that we just mentioned, reading, writing, and speaking, using those things. We do have a brief outline or schedule of when we're going to cover the goals and objectives for the course. A lot of times it's common to feel lost in a course and say, gosh, why am I learning this? Well, if you're ever curious, you'll know that specifically during week 1 we're going to be working on goal and objective 1 and 2, and so on and so forth. Okay? Grading policy. The grading is going to be rather simple in our class. We'll have some quizzes to cover grammar, which is not going to be the focus of our class. The focus of our class will be proficiency. Right? So you'll notice that in-class participation and dialogues is a huge part of our grade, and homework. Okay, homework, ironically enough, will actually be fun, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But once the class is opened up and you can go in and see the homework, you'll see that the assignments are quite fun. They work with music and sports and just different fun aspects of the language. So anyhow, homework is 34% of the overall grade. Let's see. And I'm just going to summarize this. You can read it if you'd like, but basically there is a list of homework assignments, and they again are focused on fun activities and things that you can do with Spanish outside of the class. But the anticipation is that you do one homework assignment per class, or 2 a week. If you do that, you'll be on track to have all of your homework assignments done by the end of the semester. All right? So do not procrastinate these. They can be involved. They can take time. They might have you watch a movie in Spanish with subtitles on, or build a playlist of music. Things that are fun, but that can take a while. All right? So don't procrastinate them. Let's see. You do have some level up opportunities for your homework assignments. For example, on the music assignment, which includes building a playlist of music in Spanish that you'll actually listen to, like finding some good music. So that's the basic part of the assignment. If you want, you can double your points for that particular assignment by not only picking out a favorite song from that playlist, but record yourself singing that song. Look up the words to it and sing some of the words to the song karaoke style with all of the Spanish and Latin emotion that you can muster. But you can level up and earn extra points by doing certain things with your homework assignments. So anyhow, read through that and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into the homework assignments. In-class participation is worth a big part of our grade.
Oh my gosh.
You'll notice that we don't have midterms or final exams. Instead, in class is when I am going to be observing you. Okay? So, huge part of the class. Come to class prepared. It's anticipated that you study outside of class and write sentences and questions, and come to class prepared to say some of those things that you look up and study. Again, asking questions, giving comments in class. So we'll also have dialogues in class. We're going to be working on and building dialogues in groups, and periodically, once you guys in your groups will have practiced your dialogue or your situation enough, you're going to pull me aside and say, hey, we want to present our dialogue to you, and that's going to serve as quite a few points actually for your in-class participation. So it's kind of like a test, but very, very informal compared to filling in the blank and things such as that. So and if you're curious how those are going to be graded, there's a rubric here that says what I'm going to give an A, B, C, D, etc. for. So we have our in-class participation, we have grammar quizzes. Again, grammar is going to be secondary to fluency, but I will be presenting brief and quick grammar lectures. I anticipate that they go no longer than 15 minutes and really simple and basic. Okay. And with the notes that you take on those, you'll have to study your notes on those grammar presentations, and then we'll have quizzes in class. Okay. Makeup policy. Summers are busy. Okay. So instead of trying to keep track of everybody, what we're going to do is simply not accept late work. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have wiggle room. I will be dropping your 2 lowest scores from each of those categories that we mentioned. So if you receive 2 zeros for quizzes that you missed because you're absent, then those scores are just going to be dropped. If you have 2 zeros for participation because you missed class, and obviously you can't participate if you're not in class, those 2 low scores will be dropped. All right? If you have 2 low homework scores, again, they'll be dropped. Okay, so that's how those are going to work. But if you miss a class, don't feel like you need to contact me, your low scores will be dropped. Now, if you continue to miss class, let's say you miss a 3rd or 4th class, you're going to start missing out on a lot of points. Okay, so try and be in class. Again, well, it's self-explanatory. So, grading time frames. I'm going to try and have work back to you in about a week. All right. Letter grade assignment is pretty standard, like most classes. 90 to 100% will be an A, 80 to 89 will be a B, etc. And kind of important to note, excellent work is going to be an A, good work is a B. Some people freak out if they get a B. A B is still good. Now, if you get a C, that's kind of mediocre in my eyes as far as my grading will go. D is just simply unsatisfactory and failing. Just hard to work with. Okay. Let's see. Student email. If you're going to communicate with me, please use your student email or communicate with me through Canvas. Attendance, we've kind of already discussed. I really don't do excused or unexcused absences. If you're gone, again, I'll forgive you twice. After that, you're going to be losing quite a bit of points, and it will affect your grade. Course withdrawal. If you need to drop the class for anything, any reason, please don't just quit coming to class. Chances are good you'll get an F for the class. So please be sure and withdraw through the college. Academic integrity, don't cheat. You can receive an F for an assignment. You can be kicked out of a class or even a program of study. Okay? And if it's bad enough, even the college. So don't cheat. Student code of conduct. Let's be respectful in our class. A lot of times we'll have fun, and there's potential for things to be said that kind of cross the line. So we need to remember to keep ourselves in check and respect each other, respect things such as race, religion, etc. And honestly, I try and keep anything racial or religion kind of out of class. We're there to learn Spanish. Now, if it ties into culture, we can talk about certain things in a culture light, if you will. But for the most part, I try and keep my personal beliefs and whatnot when it comes to religion and politics out of the classroom. So it would be nice if we can do the same. If you have to file an academic complaint, there is a process for that. Please follow the steps at that link. Acceptable use. If you're going to be using the college's computers or internet, you're not allowed to use them for pornographic material or for any copyright infringement activities. So be sure and use the college's technology equipment properly. Mobile devices, please put them in a silent mode when you come into class. If for whatever reason you have to take an important phone call, try and let me know about those things so that they don't upset or disturb the class too much. Tobacco use, there is a designated place for smoking, and also vaping. So if you vape, you do have to do that in a designated smoking area. So be sure and follow those guidelines. Chances are good if you smoke or vape, you already know about them. So, drug-free environment. Do not come to class under the influence of anything. If you are high or still buzzed or drunk, please do not come to class that way. We're there to learn, and it's hard to learn under certain circumstances, so please respect that. Disability resources. If you have a documented disability, the college does have certain resources available to you, so contact them and you can check out all of that information at their link there. Again, response time, I already talked about. If you email me how soon I plan on getting back to you. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so for the syllabus. If I've left anything out or if you have any questions, then, goodness, that's a long syllabus, please feel free to contact me or ask me in class. Alright, so that's the syllabus, and yep.